Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're just gonna go ahead and be doodling in my doodle sketchbook. We're just gonna do a couple of full body sketches of one of my OCs. So let's just go ahead and get into that. So as I'm sketching out this full body, for the first time you're going to see some of my weak points in my art. I hadn't even noticed that I had only been posting portraits and or face drawings since I started this channel. But that obviously shows that I just fell into doing my strong points subconsciously. But today we're going to be doing full body sketches. I'm not the best at drawing full bodies. You'll see that especially when it comes to the legs and the feet. Legs and feet are my current nemesis. I am trying to get better at drawing them. By doing more full body drawings. I'm hoping that using this channel, I'll be able to force myself into doing more pose studies. Currently I don't really do them because I find them boring. But learning is not always going to be exciting, and improvement is always going to take hard work and dedication. Unfortunately, that's hard for someone who is lazy like me. But now I do have my OCs to draw, so I guess I could use them as a way to make post studies exciting. Um, I don't really have too much to talk about for the art today. Like I said, these are just some sketches, some full body sketches of my OC. His name is Kamal, and he exists in the same story as Duke. They're actually best friends, and he acts as a character who's kind of also an antagonist. Um, well, the characters kind of start off as antagonists, and then they move on to being more of reluctant helpers to the other characters in the story. I'm still kind of going back and forth on what I really want the story to be about. Right now, it's either like a contemporary or like a vampire supernatural story. I feel like the vampire one would probably be more interesting. Um, but yeah, I have to think about that more, especially before I share what I kind of want the story to be about on here. But yeah, his name is Kamal. He's also a college senior. Um, he is an immigrant to Scotland, and currently he is studying abroad in the US with the rest of the characters. I don't know why I decided to do that. I can't remember the thought process. I think I just wanted somebody to have a Scottish accent because I like Scottish accents. I think they're cool. Sorry to whip back to the what's it called? The contents of the story or like the genre of the story. I just thought about it, and you might be thinking I think a contemporary and like a vampire story are two wildly different concepts. So how could you be like flip flopping between those? The truth is I kind of created these characters just as a way to procrastinate on writing other stories that I wanted to write about. And then I wanted to even procrastinate on these guys once I decided that I wanted to make them a story. So to do that, I kind of made a whole bunch of AUs about them. So I have a whole bunch of AUs. Sorry, AUs are like alternate universes. It's like a really popular term in fan fiction. And I do like to read fan fiction. I know, super cringe. Actually, I don't know if it's cringe anymore. I feel like people are accepting that other people like to read and write fan fiction. So I take that back. It's not cringe. I don't really write fan fiction anymore. I guess I write fan fiction for my own characters. Like I said, I like to write AUs for them and stuff. I read fan fiction still. Um, I'm not really into writing it anymore though, which is probably good because I was not a very good writer when I was writing fan fiction. But people read my stuff, so yeah. So back to the AUs I written for my characters. I have a lot of AUs of them taking places in different settings and being different magical creatures. I just find that the most compelling story of them is either the vampire one or the contemporary one. And then I also had an idea of just keeping them as AUs but making them into little web comics where one chapter is in one setting and then the next chapter is in a different setting. I think that would be cool. But it's probably a little bit too ambitious for me. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or if I'm gonna, like I said, just write it as like a novel, as like the vampire one or the contemporary one. I'm currently leaning more towards the vampire one. I think the story is a bit more interesting that way, but I guess we'll find out. To talk about the piece just a little bit, these are just little sketches of the outfits that I've drawn come out in. He has about 5 different outfits that I've drawn him in. I'm only drawing two here. I'm a lot slower at drawing than I really think I am. Like each of these little pen sketches takes about 10 minutes. Um, as you get as you get more not more better, that's not proper grammar at all. As you get more proficient in drawing, you can typically learn how to take shortcuts with your art and to draw a little bit faster. Um, I'm not sure how long it would have taken me in the past to draw like a full body sketch, but I know from doing these videos that it currently takes me about 10 minutes to do a full body sketch. Um, but I'm not sure if that's really accurate, because I like to do a lot of hatching in my drawings. You're gonna see that later. I thought about just cutting out the hatching because it takes like 2 minutes just to get the hatching done. I left it in for this video, just to try out. If you guys were like, we actually don't like to watch you hatch for like 2 minutes, I'll start cutting that out in the future, because it's not really that much extra work to just cut that out. Because I usually save the hatching for the end of the drawing because I already have it planned out where I want it to go. So yeah, I might be cutting out the hatching in the future because it does take a long time and it feels kind of repetitive just to sit and watch me hatch. I like hatching personally. I don't know if it's the repetitive movement or if I just like the way that it looks. But I hatch pretty much in all of my doodles in this sketchbook. And then when I'm done with the hatching, that's when I move on to using that Eco Line brush pen. You can see it in the corner right there. I didn't actually mean to leave it there. I more mean to like have all my supplies off screen. I don't know why. I just feel like it makes the paper more cluttered. Not the paper, but like the screen more cluttered. Maybe you guys are fine with that. I don't know. I feel weird about having a lot of stuff inside the frame. I just feel weird about having a lot of clutter in the frame. Like, no offense to other people, but if there's like a lot of stuff on their desk, I kind of get a little bit anxious. Um, so yeah, I try to keep my desk. My desk is not exactly clean, but at least you can't see how cluttered it is. But people are into clutter. It's like, what's it called? Like the maximalist movement or whatever, where people have a lot of clutter. That stuff makes me so anxious. And I'm like, my room is not that very clean or anything, but like, it's just like so much stuff. Like, how do you walk around? It's like, it's not like hoarding. It's like, they put it in a nice way, but it's still just so much stuff. And they're like, it makes it look lived in. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. It makes it look lived in. But also, it just, I don't know, something about it makes me anxious. Sorry, not to get too into people's interior design choices. Like that's none of my business. It's just my opinion. But yeah, back to Kamal. This is his main outfit that I'm drawing. I don't know what it is about my mind, but most of the characters in this story, the ones that I've drawn, they're all dressed for the winter. I do not live in a place where it gets very cold. It is kind of, it's like cold now because it's cold all over the country. Um, but usually it doesn't really get below 40 or 30 too much, too often. But everybody in the story is like wearing like a full sleeve hoodie and like long pants, or maybe they're wearing long pants and like a short sleeve. Um, but they're all like dressed for winter for some reason. That was not the plan. The story was not supposed to like take place in the winter or something. Um, but it does now just because all of their outfits that I had planned are for the winter time. And I was like, why is everybody dressed for the winter? It doesn't make any sense. I don't even dress for the winter time. I think maybe it's just subconsciously I'm typically always wearing like a long sleeve hoodie. And so I'm like, the character should also wear long sleeve hoodies. Or it just subconsciously in my brain, I'm like, long sleeve hoodie. Everybody needs a long sleeve hoodie. But yeah, you'll see that when I draw the other characters. If I do any more football days of them, which I probably will. Like I said, I mostly draw in this sketchbook most of the time. And it's mostly just the characters from the story that are in here. Um, so yeah. And now that I'm thinking about it, even characters that are not in this story, characters from other stories that I have, they're all wearing like long sleeves. I don't know if like my brain is subconsciously modest or what. But I guess I just like characters to have on full sleeves. And that's probably because I don't really have a good frame of reference for fashion. Like I said, I'm mostly just wearing a hoodie all the time. So I don't really have any ideas for what clothes to draw. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and do some fashion studies. I'm not gonna say this week because I already have all the videos planned out for this week, but hopefully next week I can maybe pair some, what's it called, some pose drawing with some fashion studies, because I really don't know what clothes people wear, and I especially don't know what clothes that men wear. And most of the stories I have currently are about a bunch of like dudes. So I would like to learn how to draw men's clothes and men's fashion. Um, I don't think men's fashion is as, out there as women's fashion tends to get. I think you just have to look at the Met Gala and you can realize that all the dudes are mostly just wearing suits. But I don't really have anything like extravagant planned for clothes. Um, so I just think studying some men's fashion, even if it's just like suits and like khaki pants, would be better than just drawing jeans all the time. And you're gonna see, even in this next drawing, his clothes are not really that different. He's just wearing sweatpants and like a workout shirt. Um, yeah, so just the only difference is like the workout shirt just has no sleeves and the pants are a little bit puffier, um, and a little baggier. That's like the only difference. Like I said, I'm not really great at fashion or designing different clothes, which is why I kind of wanted to work on this spread so I could like put together all of the outfits that I've drawn for him and try to see how to make them a little bit different from each other. Um, but unfortunately, I only drew like three outfits for this spread. You're only going to see two of them because, like I said, I draw pretty slow. And so, if I was going to put all three of them in, it was going to be like a 30-minute video. And I can't talk for 30 minutes. We've already established this. It's a real struggle for me. So 20 minutes is a lot more manageable. And you see me, I'm just starting on that drawing right now. Um, these drawings are not entirely consistent. His face looks different in both of them and all three of them really, but like I said, you're only gonna see two of them right now. His face does look different. I think I'm going more for the second face that I'm drawing than the first one. His face is a little bit too wide in the first drawing that I did, and it's kind of like encroaching on like the square jaw that I gave Duke. So I want his face to be a little bit thinner, and his body type is also a little bit thinner. I didn't draw Duke's body at all in those expression drawings that I did of him, but he's like a bit more broad. So I am trying to like vary the body shapes also, just to differentiate between characters. Um, if I ever draw them together, which I don't really do that often, I'm not really great at character interaction, but this channel is a great way to practice that. So you might see me draw some character interactions. You'll see that I'm trying to do a bit more different, trying to differentiate more between bodies later. And like I said, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to make these characters possibly into like a comic series, and I really don't want to draw all the same people, like the same face over and over again. Like I want to draw different stuff. Um, so I'm doing my best. I'm struggling a little bit because I have trouble pushing myself out of my comfort zone, but I really want to do that more often. Oh, and as I'm watching this, you can probably see that my anatomy is not the best on these full body drawings. Um, I really struggle with trying to figure out the size of both the torso and the legs. I feel like I always draw the legs too short, and yet somehow I also am always drawing the torso too short. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just that perspective that I'm looking at it from. But either way, the torso is too short because his shirt is too short and the legs are too short. Just because their legs are too short. I saw someone give like a piece of advice that they had gotten from like their art professor was like, when in doubt, just make the legs longer because it'll look better, I guess. But I think I just draw too big for the paper. well, not too big for the paper. What I mean is that like um I always start the sketch off from one with pen, so I can't change it, and also two, I make the head a certain size, and then I just follow the rest of the body to make the size of the body match, which is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to try and plan out where you want your stuff to go. Like, I'm not planning out where the body is going when I'm drawing it. I'm just going in and just drawing it, starting from the head and going all the way down instead of planning out the shapes. I've told you guys in the past, if you want your drawing to look good, you should try to plan it out before you start doing it. And I don't really do that, um, with sketches like these. And I know that I would be more satisfied with the outcome of the drawing if I was planning them out a little bit beforehand. And you don't have to plan out a sketch like super hard. Like you could just do like little like wispy little sketch lines where you like try to plan out the height and stuff. Um, the only bit of planning that I'm doing is a little bit at the beginning. You could see me like flicking my hand just to try to get like their heads on like the same plane so I could make them the same height. And I didn't even do that right. They're still a little bit different in height. They look slightly different. So that planning did not go the best either. But ultimately that's okay. Like I said, these are just sketches. I'm trying to be a little bit nicer to myself. I don't know if you noticed, but I could be a little bit down on myself in these videos. I'm not trying to be mean to myself. I'm actually trying to be kind to myself, more lately because, you're supposed to treat yourself like your own best friend, and then you'll start feeling more, what's it called? Nicer to yourself. Not feeling more nicer, but more fond of yourself, really. And give yourself more grace. Because I tend to give other people a lot of grace. Like I try to see the best in other people, but I don't do that for myself. So I'm trying to do that more, and not get so down on myself because, it's okay if a drawing doesn't come out the best. It doesn't mean anything about you or your worth or like your quality as an artist. Everybody has like bad drawing days, and it's okay. And I feel like I accept that about other people, but I have a hard time applying that to myself. So I'm not trying to get down on myself. If you hear me being down on myself, just be like, hey, buck up, friend. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I have to buck up, friend. And so I'll try to be better about that. So I guess just for a minute, let's all take a moment and look at our art and say something nice about it. I guess I'll go first. I do like the way that the face came out on the second drawing, and I do want to be able to draw his face in a similar way in the future because I kind of want him to look that way. So there you go. Make sure that you guys also find something nice to say about your art. Even if you think that your art's not very good, I promise that there's something to like about it. And if you showed it to someone, they would probably point it out to you and you'd be like, wow, I never even thought about my art that way. So sometimes you just need a little bit of outside perspective, but I'm sure if you are looking at your art, you will find something beautiful in it. I promise. Because you can't always rely on other people to give you validation for your art because validation and motivation from other people is not going to last. You're going to have to find the motivation and validation from yourself so that way you'll be able to keep drawing for yourself. If you draw just for other people, you're going to get burnt out. Um, and so every artist needs to, well, they don't need to do anything. No one needs to do anything, but I promise you'll feel better about yourself if you can find things in your art that you like. So that way, you can keep loving art. Because if you didn't love doing art, you wouldn't be drawing. So I wouldn't want anybody to lose their spark because they're down on the way that their art looks. Because, like I said, your art journey is yours, and some people take a little bit longer, and some people go a little bit faster, and that's okay. I didn't mean for this to turn into like a motivational speech. I decided not to write a script for this video, and I just been going off the cuff the whole time. So I guess maybe I felt like I needed some motivation, or I was like frustrated and I needed some encouragement. So I guess I decided to give you guys some encouragement too, which is good. We all need encouragement from time to time, and we all need to remember to be kind to ourselves when we're drawing, because ultimately, art is really a hobby for you. If you didn't want to draw, you wouldn't be drawing. You would get frustrated and throw it away, which is fine too. If you are doing something and you're like, it's not for me, it's okay to throw it away. But if you really like doing something, you should try to persevere as best as you can, so that way you can get better at it. Like when I was younger, I was always throwing away my art and giving up and taking breaks. And I wish I wouldn't have done that, because if I had just stayed consistent, my art would be in a better place than it is now. Um, Not that I'm getting down on myself. I know you don't have to tell me to buck up right now. I promise. I'm just saying that through consistency, we get better at art. And getting down on yourself and telling yourself your art is bad is only going to affect your mental state negatively and make you not want to do it. And you're really not going to improve if you give up. So I feel like we should all just try our best to be kind to ourselves, so that way we can improve and get better. Because if we give up, we're never going to get any better. So I hope that that gave somebody a little bit of strength to carry on. Sometimes you just need to hear it from an outside person. Yeah. I think this is getting a little bit cheesy on my part, so I think maybe I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking about this now. Um Alrighty, the drawing is almost finished. Like I said, this is just gonna be like 2 minutes of hatching, and you can already see me. I'm trying to do it pretty fast so I can get it over with. I think that probably watching hatching is boring. I could probably watch hatching for a long time just because I like it. Um and there's lots of different ways that you could do hatching. Watch me go into like a hatching um tangent for just like 2 minutes to cover the hatching. But there are lots of different ways that you could do it. I don't really do cross hatching. I'm not a big fan of how it looks, but I do like just straight lines, and I've been trying to get better at curved hatching. People tell you to do like what's it called? Like studies, not studies, but like practice, where you practice doing hatching with straight lines, and also you try to do practice with like curved lines. I'm getting better at the curved lines one, and I'm practicing that one more. Because I'm trying to do that for shirts. I don't know if I'll ever do a sketchbook tour for this sketchbook, just because it's got like a lot of embarrassing stuff in it. But if I did, you might see me trying to do some hatching that's curved for like shirts and stuff. And maybe try for some pants, because it makes it look a little bit more of like a round shape. Um, but yeah, and also the spacing between the hatching lines can also make it have like a different look. It can make the color of the shirt look lighter. Like you can kind of see a difference in how close together the lines are for the shirt on the left and the shirt on the right. With the shirt on the left looking a little bit darker, because the hatching lines are more separated. Um, I could get a lot further into hatching, but now that I'm looking at the recording of the video, we're coming up on the end of the video. Like as soon as I'm done with the hatching, the video is going to be over. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and say bye for now. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video, and I hope my little talk helped at least one of you guys out. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.